In the world of word problems, everyone's favorite. So I'm a big fan of highlighters and colored pens, as you already well know. Number one, Georgie joins a gym. Doesn't matter. Absolutely does not mean anything as far as the math world is concerned, other than it conversationally makes sense. She pays $25 to sign up. As soon as you see that first number, I would make sure we pay attention to that guy. That 25 is definitely one we're going to use. The $25 to sign up is not something she's going to get out of or he's going to get out of. So I like to call that the non-negotiable, the starting point. So if I want to go to the gym, I'm going to pay that $25 no matter what. So again, starting point, which hopefully we know also means y-intercept, otherwise known as your b value. So if I'm looking at creating my equation, I know I'm going to have a 25 and I'm going to pay 25. I'm going to hand them $25 at sign up. And then we're going to do $15 each month. So $15 the each month part. So month is going to be my X. That's what we're counting by. This is our rate of change. So this is the rate that his cost of joining the gym is going to change. And rate of change, we also hopefully know at this point, is our M. M is in front of the X. So 15 is in front of our X. So that's going to be 15. And then we have our X. And we want to make sure we always have our Y equals. Just a reminder from some throwbacks and to make sure we don't ever forget. This is our output. When it's in slope intercept form, it's on the outside after you solve it. This is our input. Rate of change is 15. The X at this point is going to be months. That's what they're counting. And then this is going to be money, cost. Money or cost is going to be your Y. So when we look at our graph, we go to graph this line. We know that our x-axis is here and our y-axis is here. Our x-axis is going to be time, which in this case is going to be month. This is independent. This is what we decide we are tracking. Our y-axis is going to be cost. And that is dependent on how long we decide to track this. So this is dependent. That is our output. So remember, independent is our input, dependent is our output, because our cost depends on how long we track it. Now, to go to graph this guy, these are some bigger numbers and not a huge graph. You won't have to actually graph this on paper by hand, but you need to be able to read a graph. So let's go by ones across the bottom. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're going to track it for 10 months. Going up, we go by fives. We go by tens because 15 is like 1.5 tens, right? And since we're going to start at 25, that's pretty high up on there already starting. So I'm going to start at 10. So 10, 20, 30, and I'm skipping every other one just because my handwriting's big. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Look, I already messed up. This is 50. This is 70, 80, 90. Now, our starting point is 25. So we're going to go to 25, which is 20 and halfway through. This is our y-intercept, our b value, our starting point. And then as the months go on, so 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, for every month, it's going to be 15 more. So this is from 25 to 30 is 5, up to 40 is 15 in 1 month. So from 40 to 50 is 10, plus 5, which is halfway, is 1 month. So theoretically, if you want to go by 5, it's 1, 2, 3, 1 month. Again, 1, 2, 3, 1 month. 1, 2, 3, 1 month. And I'm counting 3 because remember, every one of these blocks is worth 2 because they're 5 each, so we're counting by tens. So 5, 10, 15 for 1 month. 5, 10, 15 for 1 month. And going in the other way, this is 15 positive, so 15 up to the right one. To come down, we're going to go 15 down, 5, 10, 15. That's negative 15. And we're going to go to the left one. So down 5, 10, 15 to the left one. 5, 10, 15 to the left one. And that's negative 1. So negative 15 over negative 1 is the same thing as that positive 15 and to the right one, positive 1. I will say that if you do ever have to graph these for a grade, use the edge of a piece of paper or something along the way, like something straight edged around you. You have a book, you have something. Don't just let it turn into a hot mess. And then we're going to draw our line. It is a positive line. It is increasing, which makes sense because the longer they join the gym, the more it's going to cost, the length of time they're there. Now, to our conversation, this negative part of the graph doesn't make sense. It starts here. So the part you're paying attention to is only the part to the right. But if you had to continue your line in the other direction, I just want to make sure we discuss that. So our slope is a 15/1. Our y-intercept, remember, x is time, y is cost. So we're going to write a sentence about this. So let's pick a month. How about, let's go with 3. We're going to go up here and we find our 3. So at 3 months, it's going to cost $70. So if Georgie is a member at the gym for 3 months, their cost will be $70. Now, as a coordinate, that means I went over 3 and up 70. So x value 3, x months, 3 months, and our cost for y is 70. Now, the next question here, it says, how much will Georgie have to pay if she used the gym for 5 months? So 5 months, we're going to go over to 5, and we're going to go up. Looks like $100. So that coordinate is 5 and 100. Or if the graph confuses you and you're positive your equation's correct, we're looking for our cost, how much. So that means, remember, cost is y. So our unknown is y. We know our slope is 15. We know our initial cost is at 25. That's non-negotiable. And then in this case, we're tracking it for 5 months. And we are counting by months. You do want to pay attention to the labels. Like if this happened to be by years, then we would have to change this and convert it. 5 times 15 is going to give me 75, and 75 plus 25 is indeed going to give me 100. So algebraically, we are correct, and our equation looks great. All right, so number 2, Edwin has $50 in his bank, period. There is no gray area. That means we have $50. That is what we are talking about. We're starting with $50. It's in the bank. So he has $50 in the bank. He starts spending $250, which hope you're paying attention. You see a number each week. So each week, there's our x value, and there's our rate of change or slope. Rate of change, our m value. So we have 250. You could do 2.5, 2.50. It's fine either way. And then this is going to be our y equals. X in this case is going to be weeks. Again, that's our input. What we control is independent. And our output is going to be money. Or at this point, I guess we could call it cost, but it's money in the savings account. So depending on how many weeks is how much money we have. Dependent, independent. Input, output. We control our independent variable and our input. If we go to our graph, now 2.5, if I count by twos, if I do twice, that's going to be a positive 5. So if I put a 1 here, 2.5 times 1 is 2.5. 2.5 times 2 is 5. Plus 50 gives me 55. 5 is a great number. So if I count by twos, so we call this 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 14, 18, and I'm just skipping again because I write big. So every dash is worth 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and then 20. We're counting up by 2.5. I would not do more than 5. 10 is going to be hard because these squares are kind of small for it to count as 4. 2.5, there's 2 inside this one square at that rate. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. And then we have 50 up at the top, which looks great because that's our starting point. So we know our starting point is 50, also known as your y-intercept. That's when x is 0. So we're going to start So if I don't spend any weeks spending money on lunch snacks, I'm going to have $50 because that's what's in my bank period, or in Edwin's bank period. They're spending 2.5. So there is a mistake in my equation already. That's a negative 2.5. Spending, it's going down. So spending is another thing you want to make sure you pay really close attention to. Spending, that means it's negative. We're losing money. So we're losing 2.5 each week. So we're going to go down 2.5 for every 1 week, but we're going to do it twice for every 2, because remember, this is going to count. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So every box is actually worth 2. So we're going to go down 5 and over what appears to be 1, but we're counting by 2s. Down 5 over 2, down 5 over 2, down 5 over 2, and so on. Down 5 over 2, all the way down till we get to our x-intercept. And our x-intercept in this case is 20. Again, try your best to make these look like good lines. If you have to ever graph this in your notes, you'll appreciate it more when they are easier to follow, and you can use those notes to be helpful. So we do have a decreasing line. This is a negative equation. Our y-intercept is labeled. Our x-axis, remember, this is time again. And this is going to be weeks this time, not months. And this again is money. Our y-axis is money, like what he has. And remember, the money is dependent on how many weeks Edwin buys snacks. So this is independent. This is what we control. All right, and remember, x-axis left and right, y-axis up and down. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So we're going to pick one. So let's just go pick. I like 6. So as I go from 6, I'm going to have $35 in our account. So if Edwin buys lunch snacks, for 6 weeks, he will have $35 left in his bank account. Again, as a coordinate, we went over to 6, so our x value is going to be 6, and we went up to 35. So track for 6 weeks, there's $35. Input would be 6. It is independent, it's what we control. We just pick that number, and our output is 35, which is dependent on the fact that we tracked it for 6 weeks. Now, they're sending us on a goose hunt. After how many weeks will Edwin run out of money? Well, we're down at 0. 0 money. 0 money is here. So that's $5, $15, $25. We hit 0 at 20 weeks. So 20 weeks equals $0. On the graph, this is our x-intercept. And I've mentioned it a couple times. At our x-intercept, that's 20, y will always be 0. Just like at your y-intercept, your x value will always be 0 because we didn't go left or right. We're just traveling up and down this y-axis. So our x-intercept is 0.50. If I never go eat lunch, I'm going to have $50. If I go eat lunch and get snacks for 20 weeks, I'm going to have $0. All right, guys, lots of word problems practice coming up. Holler if you need me.